Welcome back, everybody, to my episode 11 impressions on pacing of the Shield Hero Turtles in Time. No, Shield Hero second season, obviously. No, starting to have that feeling of the pacing picking up again. I mean, technically, the last episode, the pacing was off too, but it is really interesting. I think Shield Hero second season is, even if we don't get much out of it, like I said, I got something out of it. I got Raphtalia in a beautiful Shrine Maiden outfit, kicking butt. I love the development around Raphtalia, and I love Kizuna. I think Kizuna is fantastic. But I think if nobody gets, if a lot of people don't get anything out of Shield Hero second season, they're at least going to have a permanent example that they can give people in the future of what bad pacing looks like. And I think that's an interesting thing. It's not me being like super hateful. It's just legit. There's times where you have a discussion around pacing and you can't really, off the top of your head, remember something that really does define it. And I really do think this one does. And I think it was evident in this episode specifically around Kyo's little right-hand girl. I mean, she was legit. Her whole story was just bam, 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 bam. Okay, we're here. Because it goes from her being like super devoted. Her whole history is that she's been with Kyo her entire life, pretty much. Since childhood, she has known Kyo. He's always been, away from everybody else, just reading his book. He was always wearing weird clothes. He was talking about all this stuff about his country, about the waves. He knew about the waves even far back then, talking about this book that he has, which obviously he's the book vassal. And it's all to this point where suddenly she's like, die hard, I will take these people out for you. I will do your bidding, Kyo, and rushes out there and immediately goes, you guys have me outnumbered. How dare you? It's like, you went to them. It's like jumping into a pack of wolves and hitting one of them and going, how dare they all attack me at the same time? I got a kick out of it. I was like, at least if her writing's off, similar to Kyo, at least she's funny. at least I got a chuckle out of the goofiness of her, but I liked her. I liked her introduction. I thought she was super cute. So funny, but it goes immediately to this whole idea of like, oh, well, he had a weapon on her that was going to kill her and everybody else. So obviously he was just using you as a sacrifice. And then it immediately turns to, oh, I don't want to imprison her because I want her to know that we're friends because we can work together against these waves. If what she's saying is true, if Kyo's whole purpose is to stop the waves, then we should work together. And then immediately, click. Oh, well, I don't know why you all look at Kyo that way, or you say his name with that face that you have. Did he do something terrible? I've seen him do terrible things, but I overlooked it. But is he going too far? Now I'm suddenly concerned about him, and I need to make sure that he's punished, and that we are both punished, and that if we have to die together, that's fine. Wait, what? Wait, what? You've lived your entire life with him, and then suddenly you meet these people, one of them's nice to you, and you go, yeah, we should all be punished to death. It's like, what? Again, the pacing thing. It was bizarre. It was bizarre. But like I said, she is cute. I did like her introduction. I'm assuming it's probably going to turn into one of those things where probably the next episode, the moment she sees Kyo, it's, oh, ha, I tricked you all. I was just leading you all here. And Kyo's like, you brought them all to me just like we planned. Because it does seem odd that she knows exactly what's going on. Like, she went from, I grew up with him. He knew about the waves. He told me about the waves. He wants to stop the waves. Oh, he technically tried to kill me, but she's not going to believe when they say that. No, you did something to the sort. To immediately the waves show up, they get teleported to his base, and she immediately goes, he created him. It's like, wait, what? What? Wait, what? How did you establish that he created these things above you? What connected that to you? Maybe it'll explain it in the next episode. But again, that's the problem with the pacing. It doesn't explain things. Things just kind of happen, and you don't get the little in-betweens that explain how you get to conclusions. Characters just immediately say the next line in that part of the story, and you don't know how they got to that conclusion. I totally just kind of went right into this, but yes, I was like, whoa, okay, that started interesting. Like, the episode immediately opens up and Kazuki just splits in half. Like, because we were talking about the idea of how exactly did Raphtalia cut Kazuki, and she technically did say don't move. that I cut you, don't move. And it's kind of one of those things where she cuts so thinly that, yeah, you could probably stay there for a bit and let it heal up, like let the cells mend back together. But the moment that you move, it all falls apart. And yeah, sure enough, which I'm like, they had to say that the moment after Kyo said, "I gave you that body," and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's not dead. I mean, he's just gonna give him another body. So it does imply that Kyo at least gave him a body to work with. Maybe the real Kazuki died at some point and he moved him into a new body. But yeah, that was interesting. But that would explain maybe why Kazuki doesn't like him, because maybe he holds that over his head all the time. Like, he gave him the second chance, or maybe he forced him into a body and has been forcing him to work with him. And he's like, well, I didn't choose this, and that angers him. That's why he doesn't like him, because yeah, he went and got the sword without telling Kyo. Kyo apparently didn't like that. Then, of course, all the girls want power. They want to get revenge, so we'll probably see them using crazy kills you swords to take down Naofumi. It's kind of the whole fair of weapons that, yes, give you power, but drain your power at the same time. It, like, amplifies your mana or whatever, your mana source, your energy source, and uses as power. Yeah, but the whole thing behind Yomugi, who is the right hand of Kyo, or at least she seems to think that she's serving Kyo. It is interesting to kind of get a little insight into his history. Now we're finally getting something besides the fact that he's just a cackling bad guy. And I knew eventually we were going to get something, I would hope. But there's a few things that kind of addressed here. Like I said before, she points out the fact that he wore weird clothing. So that does indicate that he's from somewhere else. He's not from this world, probably. If anything, he's going to be from maybe like a way far off country. She said that he talked to her about his country. Doesn't say exactly what he talked about with that country. She didn't name, like, he had huge skyscrapers and these things called cars. So he just points out the fact that he wore weird clothes, talked about his country, the books and the waves. So it does indicate that he probably might not be from this world. My theory that I'm building right now is that it's possible that, yes, he is the book vassal or whatever. I think at the time I kind of assumed that he was a book hero, because at the time I really wasn't getting the whole difference between vassals and cardinal hero kind of thing. But I still am thinking that I don't know that he specifically said at this point, but I fully believe that he's probably from another world. Again, probably summoned as a cardinal hero, just not really doing it properly. But I think the fact that he has weird clothes and talks about his country, I think that kind of indicates that he's not from there, at least. Now, the interesting thing that might come from that is, yeah, him being really young and moved in this world is probably going to mess somebody up. Being taken when you're, like, literally very young, I would assume probably about 5 or 6, and you're taken to another world away from your family and everything normal, would be pretty messed up. I don't know if that's going to be enough to sell me on the fact that he's obsessed with Naofumi being upset about things, but we'll see. But it does bring up the question mark of what is his goal with bringing up the waves. Is creating the waves because he thinks that destroying the worlds will cause him to go back? Does he think that if he opens up the right wave, he'll be able to go back to his old home? I don't really know at this point, but it's going to take a lot for them to sell me on him whatsoever as a character. And sadly, they only have 2 episodes to work with, so good luck, I guess. I mean, he could probably still end up going on further beyond these 2 episodes, but we'll see. I did have a lot of fun with Lark and the nobility that he's a part of, and the fact that they kept teasing him on it, saying that he's the young master, and he keeps getting upset about it, and all this goofy stuff about paying for this new armor that they kind of had built for them that costs a fortune. They just kind of toss it up to Lark. That was a lot of fun. I really did love the interactions between Naofumi and, yeah, the band of vassals from this world. But additionally, I really like the fact that Kizuna reprimanded Glass and all them. Like, Naofumi told me that you guys were doing this. And it's like, yeah, we're doing that. What were you thinking? You find another way. You don't immediately just take on that plan. We can find another way so that both worlds exist. You don't have to destroy their world. Why would you? We're the bad guys. It's like, she's like, we're the bad guys. I got a huge kick out of that. They are technically flagging the hell out of Kizuna at this point. I really do feel like I'd be shocked if Kizuna doesn't at least get a fake out death. Kizuna is turning into the Peacekeeper. And typically with the Peacekeeper and stories like this that are kind of dark. Now, granted, I still don't believe Ost is dead. Let me be perfectly clear. I don't believe Ost is dead. There's nothing indicated in the story so far that this writer is even close to wanting to allow any character to die. Even a super bad guy, like we had with this episode, isn't dead. I don't believe this writer will either will commit to death. And so I don't see Kizuna dying just because of that. But they are technically placing her in a position where she's going to be the noble sacrifice. The one that is trying to bring everybody together, dies, and thus creates a new mending because of that. Glass will never want to raise her hand against Naofumi because that's what Kizuna would want. That kind of mentality. They're putting her in the position of the peacekeeper, and typically in a semi-dark to dark show or story is always going to be the one that is the martyr, so to speak. So, but we'll see. It just felt like this episode was super flagging her, so we'll have to wait to see where that goes. But yeah, anyways, leaving the episode with Kyo starting the waves, actually sped up the process and created the waves to start up, talking about the different worlds and the rules within each one of them, and shattering the barriers and manifesting his chuny phrase, wave of calamity dimension wave. So we'll see where that goes, and had a little bit of teleportation. I'm curious. I know that specifically Kizuna put something on Yomogi to allow her to travel with her if she teleported, which is very convenient that she would do that immediately before the wave showed up and she was teleported. A little interesting that everybody else teleported with her, so I'm assuming that maybe the other vassals, the weapon vassals, are connected to Kizuna in some way, or maybe they've all done that previously, but just left Naofumi and the rest of them behind. But we'll see where it goes from there. Again, I'm going to assume that Yomogi is going to immediately turn tail the moment that she sees Kyo. Kyo's going to be cackling bad guy, as cackling bad guys do. Naofumi probably fights some ways for a little bit before he finally is summoned to go see Kyo, or maybe Kyo comes to him with Kizuna and everybody captured or something like that. This is going to be a season of people being captured, let's be honest, but we'll see. That's my thoughts on episode 11. We'll see how it goes from here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment, do you think in the future this is going to be something that you'll point to whenever you talk about pacing? I really do think it's a good example. Even if you don't hate the show, which I don't hate the show, but I want it to be good. Everything I say is out of passion. I want it to be a good show. But if you're not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We definitely appreciate you guys' support and sharing out this video. Additionally, if you want to support us more, we have a link to our Patreon, our tips link. We also have a super thanks button down there where you can support us directly. Definitely appreciate everybody that considers it, and you'll take care.